What's up guys, this is Ian and welcome to another one of my videos. Alright, today I'm going to show you guys what tools I use to wrap my car. But before I do that, I hope you guys can give me a thumbs up for this video and subscribe to my channel. Alright, so let's get into it. First you'll need, of course, is a vinyl sticker. Okay, so this is the sticker which I used to wrap my car, and it's a brand, in fact there's no name, no brand, it's from China. I got it off Taobao. Alright, and the next tool that you will need, and you definitely need, is a heat gun. In fact, you can get any cheap heat gun and it will work, and it's got this nozzle here, and it's got an adjustable temperature control. That's very important. And yeah, it's essential to have a heat gun. I don't recommend using a hairdryer, but you know, if you don't have a heat gun and you want to use a hairdryer, by all means go ahead, but you won't be able to achieve the results that those professional car wrappers will achieve. Okay, next thing you need is a microfiber cloth, and this cloth is, I use it to clean out the edges of the car panel to remove the dirt. And of course, going along with that is this isopropyl alcohol, and this is a 70% solution, so I use this two together to wipe off any dirt and contaminants from the car before I start wrapping. Okay, next, masking tapes. Okay, so masking tapes are essential because if you're wrapping a car, certain areas you want the vinyl to slide off the other side of the panel, then you will use masking tape. So I have 2-inch, 1-inch, and half an inch masking tape, depending on what your application is. And obviously the half-inch is more flexible, you can bend it a bit more, and I use this the most actually, and the 1-inch. Okay, so those are masking tape. Then let's get into measuring tapes. Okay, so that was masking tape, this is measuring tape. So basically there are two types of tapes that I use. I use the soft tape, okay, the more pliable, flexible tape that you can wrap around your car, and you get the measurement. And of course I use the metal tape, measuring tape. But this, I normally use it on the when I'm cutting the bigger pieces out from the roll, and I don't use this on the car because basically it's metal, it might scratch the car, so I don't use this measuring tape on the car. Okay, mostly when I'm measuring a panel, the size of a panel, I'll use this flexible measuring tape. Okay, so those are measuring tapes. Next, let's talk about cutters. Okay, so I have this cutter called the Zippy, and this Zippy, it slides when your vinyl goes in here, and it slides along the vinyl so that it cuts on the vinyl itself. And if the vinyl is still on the liner, you can slide it along the liner, and it will cut the vinyl at the same time. So it's good for cutting up the vinyl when you are measuring out the bigger pieces of the vinyl, and then cutting it up into smaller pieces. And this Zippy is very useful for that, right? And of course it comes to blade. Technically I have 3 types, and the type of blade I use the most is this 30-degree blade. Of course you have the normal razor blade, which I don't really use, but most of the time sometimes I use it to cut bigger pieces out. And of course, this huge box cutter, which I don't use as well most of the time, because they are not really sharp in my opinion. But the sharpest and the cleanest cut I get is from this 30-degree blade, and I use this blade the most. Okay, and this is the extra blades. Okay, so those are the blades. And scissors, of course, I've got very sharp edge scissors here, and this cuts up the vinyl if I have some intricate areas which I don't use to cut on the car. If the vinyl is on the car, I don't use the scissors. I'll just cut the vinyl when it's off the car. Okay, so I use the scissors. Yeah, so, and this normal blade here, which I seldom use as well, but sometimes I do use them. Okay, to be fair. Alright, so let's talk about oh, there's one more tape here which I missed out, and this is the 3M knifeless tape. So this knifeless tape, basically you stick it on your car in those areas that you need to do inlays or overlays. You use a knifeless tape. You get to join the two pieces together, you need knifeless tape. Or if you have part of the panel that you need to have a straight cut and you won't be able to cut on the car itself, then you'll need this knifeless tape, which is a very good tape. It's very expensive. I do recommend just getting a normal cutting tape, brandless one on Amazon or AliExpress. Okay, and it works just as well. Right, so knifeless tape. Next thing that I use very often is magnets. Okay, so basically sometimes you'll need to mount your, if you're working alone, you need to mount the vinyl on the car and measure it out before you start peeling off the liner. So this magnets here will help you. Okay, and I've got huge, big ones, small ones, as long as it holds your vinyl on the car. Right, so the last things that I have are the squeegees and the wrap sticks that I use all the time. So this different types of squeegees. You have the soft ones, okay, and then you have the harder ones, and of course it comes with the buffer strip and different types of buffer strips. This buffer strip here is small, it's thicker, it's got more felt on it, and you've got some which has got very thin felt. Okay, I like to use the more flexible ones by Oyama, but this felt tip is not really really soft, and so I use this most of the time. And then besides squeegees, I do use a wrap stick. So this wrap stick is very handy. Basically it goes into corners, crevices like this, okay, and you've got different hardness to it. This is pretty soft, the black is really hard, and the blue is the softest. So for different corners, you want to tuck your vinyl into that corner. This is the wrap stick that you use. Alright, and another tool here, if you can see, there's a hook here. So if you want to tuck your vinyl into certain grooves, this is the tool that you use, right? And it's got this bevel edge here that you use to push the vinyl into the groove. This is the tool that you use. Alright, and of course there's this bigger tool that I use to really push the vinyl in, but of course I don't use it bare like this. I'll probably use a microfiber towel, and then just wrap it around and just push the vinyl in. And yeah, I don't really use this tool, so yeah. Right, and the final thing that I use is a wrap glove. So this wrap glove helps you, sometimes you use your hands to push the vinyl in, and this wrap glove helps you, makes the job easier because it glides across the vinyl. So yeah, so a wrap glove is quite essential because sometimes in the heat, your hands are sweaty, and this glove glides really well onto the vinyl. Right, so that's it for the tools that I use for wrapping my car. So if you guys are interested, I can leave the link to where to buy down below in the description. And I hope you guys can give me a thumbs up for this video and subscribe to my channel.